This is SportsCenter.
On our first winter edition of SportsCenter, we'll start off with coverage of the girls basketball team as they dominated the Enderlin Eagles and the Wyndmere Lidgerwood Warbirds. Then we move on to the boys basketball home opener against the Thompson Tommies in a game that came down to a shot at the final buzzer. And we finish the show with coverage of the opening triangular wrestling meet, which featured both boys and girls wrestlers dominating their opponents. It's all coming up on Central Cast SportsCenter right now.
Hi, and welcome to the first winter edition of Central Cast SportsCenter. I'm Kayla Higness along with Paige Wickstow. We'll be covering both basketball teams and the wrestlers in this show.
The girls' basketball team started practice right after the region volleyball tournament was over. After 2 short weeks of practice, they faced off against the Enderlin Eagles in the home game. The Eagles are coming off a poor season and starting all underclassmen this year. It looks like they may need another rebuilding year. The Squirrels, on the other hand, bring back their top 8 scorers from last season's second-place team. It didn't take long for that experience to show up after the opening tip. Kaylee McKinnon had the honor of making the first three-pointer of the season early in the first quarter. After a 2-minute dry spell, Delaney followed that up with a three-pointer of her own. Morgan Lee's specialty is a three-pointer. She gets right on top of Delaney's spot and drains it. The Squirrels were in a full-court press for much of the game, and it turned into turnovers and points. Here, Claire gets the and one off the turnover. Morgan misses the three-point attempt, but Tori gets one of her 5 rebounds and puts it back for 2. DeConte led the team in scoring last year. Tonight, she got just 6, using her strength down low to get this bucket. Tori anticipates the pass and makes the steal. 60 feet later, she brings her scoring for the night up to 6. A new platoon went into the game in the fourth quarter. Taylor Severson scored 4 in her short playing time, with the last ones coming off her own missed free throw. The fourth quarter used a running clock all the way through, as Enderlin failed to score in the fourth quarter. With so many people seeing playing time for the Squirrels, no one had a big night scoring. Senior Jaitlyn Cotton led the team with 13, with 8 of those coming in the first quarter.
The Squirrels next played 2 games on the road where they defeated both Maple River and Mayport by substantial margins. And when the Wyndmere Lidgerwood Warbirds came to Castleton for the only home game in the month of December for the Squirrels, the Warbirds were coming off a 9-point win over Maple River just 3 days earlier, but the Squirrels had defeated Maple River by 37, so it looked like it might be another blowout in the making, and it was. Jalen had a quick start in the opening against Enderlin, and she did the same against Wyndmere, scoring 8 of her 12 total points in the first quarter. And sister Delaney Cotton came off the bench and also scored 8 in the first quarter. With only 1 Cotton left to go, here's Claire hitting from behind the arc. Combined, the Cottons scored 19 in the first quarter. Kaylee didn't make any threes against Mayport, but she's had at least 1 in each other game. Here's her first of 2 this night. Delaney steals this pass and quickly moves it up the court before dishing it off to Riley with the scoop layup. DeConte hit a 3 in the first quarter, but after that, almost all of her 12 total points came on driving layups like this one. Morgan Lee takes the pass for Taylor Severson and nails the 3 just before the third quarter buzzer goes off. She is so excited. A running clock for the entire fourth quarter reduced the Squirrels' scoring to just 11 points, 2 of those coming on this nice inside move by Peyton Nelson. For the 4th straight game, it was pretty much all over by the end of the first quarter. Over those 4 games, the Squirrels have outscored their opponents by a margin of 82-11 in the opening 8 minutes. They continue to get balanced scoring, with no one averaging over more than 13 points a game, but with 8 players averaging 4 or more. We'll take a short break so Peyton and Mitchell can take over.
Hi, welcome back. I'm Peyton Amar, along with Mitchell Melander. We'll finish the show. First to boys basketball. The team started out the season with 3 away games, winning them all, and getting the Squirrels some votes in the early polls. The first home game of the season was against the Thompson Tommies from Region 2. Thompson usually a good team, so it seemed like it could be a competitive game. And it was. Now here's Mitchell with the highlights.
Thompson scored the first bucket, but then Sam Kobervig took it to the blocks before pulling up for the bank shot. Sophomore Carter Vakota is the 3rd highest scorer on the team. He can create his own shots, as he does here with the baseline drive. Sam started the season 0 for 8 on threes coming into this game. With this shot, he breaks the ice. Jake Deutsch has the moves and quickness to drive by just about anyone and still get the shot up and over the tall defenders. Eli Brewer scored 12 off the bench against Midway Minto. In this game, he gets on the board with his team leading 7th three-pointer. Down by 2 with under 3 minutes to go, Cole Holzer ends a three-pointer dry spell with this shot to give the Squirrels the lead. This tripping foul sent Sam to the free-throw line for a 1-and-1. He coolly made both to give the Squirrels the lead. A last-second shot by Thompson almost went in, but Central Cass escaped with the win in their toughest test of the season so far. Points were hard to come by for both teams. The Squirrels have had a hard time from beyond the arc over the last 2 games, making only 8 for 53. That will need to improve in future games.
And that brings us to the wrestling. The Squirrels had a few weight classes that needed filling after some senior graduations last year. Among those no longer with the team were state placers Aiden Oso-Tinglestead and Jaden Bartz. Also, this is the first year that girls wrestling is officially sanctioned as a North Dakota prep sport. On December 3rd, the season opened up with a triangular meet that included Grafton and Northwood. Wrestling at 120 was Josiah Crandall, who finished 6th in the state last year. He starts out with a takedown in the first period, and then in the second he finished it off with a pin. Grady Link was next at 126. He looked to be at a disadvantage early, but he managed to get out of his predicament and get the takedown. Less than 1 minute into the match, he got the win with the fall. Anthony Wu has been wrestling in the upper weights for a couple of years now. Tonight he's at 182, and after getting a quick takedown, his match is over in just 48 seconds with a pin. The Squirrels defeated Grafton 66-18, with Caden Graber and Jalen Baumgarten also getting pins. Then it was Northwoods to take on the Squirrels. Northwood had a lot of open weight classes, so the final result wasn't in doubt, but the Squirrels also did well in the matches that were contested. Stone Thornton wrestled at 170 in both matches, but lost in the duel against his Grafton opponent. Against Northwood, it didn't take him long to get the takedown, and then it was just a matter of time before he applied the butcher move and the pin was had. There were several girls who wrestled exhibition matches this night. Here we have Melva Gingbringer getting the initial takedown. After getting taken down herself later, she gets another takedown in the second period and finishes it off with a pin. Central Cass won both matches this night, with this one against Northwood ending up at 78-6. Garrett Elgin, Marcus Biffert, Stone Thornton, and Dominic Wetzel all got pins. That's it for this edition of Central Cass Sports Center. Keep watching throughout the season for more shows. 4K versions of each show will only be on the Central Cass Sports Center channel, and 1080p versions will be on the Central Cass Basketball channel.